Mistaking him for an ordinary passenger, an air hostess publicly humiliated one of the country's most respected ministers. But the very next moment, something happened that changed the entire atmosphere of the plane and left everyone stunned. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And to hear more inspiring English stories, subscribe and stay with us. Let's begin. The year was 2025. It was a busy afternoon at the domestic terminal of Jinnah International Airport in Karachi. Inside the calm, air-conditioned business class lounge sat an elderly gentleman. His name was Rashid Mahmood, profession, professor of economics at Karachi University. He was dressed in a simple cotton shalwar kameez and a light waistcoat. On his feet were plain leather sandals. There was no expensive watch on his wrist. Even the small leather briefcase beside him looked old and worn. He had never cared for luxury. There was a thoughtful expression on his face. Tomorrow morning was the oath-taking ceremony of the new cabinet, and he was traveling to Islamabad to take oath as the country's next finance minister. For one last time, he wished to make this journey as an ordinary citizen without any official protocol. The other passengers in the lounge, wearing expensive suits and designer clothes, kept glancing at him. In their eyes was a faint look of contempt and the unspoken question, what is this simple old man doing here? But Rashid Mahmood paid no attention. A few moments later, an announcement echoed. Business class passengers of Islamabad-bound flight PK317 are requested to proceed to Gate 4. Rashid Mahmood stood up slowly and walked towards the line. At the gate stood a young air hostess named Sana Qureshi. She wore a crisp uniform, a neat dupatta draped over her shoulders, red lipstick on her lips, and a professional yet prideful smile. She greeted the suited gentleman ahead of him with a sweet smile. "Welcome aboard, sir." But as soon as Rashid Mahmood's turn came, her smile vanished. She looked him up and down, then said to her colleague in a low tone, "Uncle, this is the business class line. Economy is that way." Rashid Mahmood calmly extended his ticket toward her. Sana nearly snatched it from his hand and glanced at it. Seat number 2A. A frown appeared on her forehead. "There must be some mistake," she muttered. Then, raising her voice, she said, "I think you've misunderstood. This seat can't be yours." People around began turning their heads to watch. In a soft tone, Rashid Mahmood said, "But this is my ticket." Sana's voice grew sharper. "People like you sometimes use someone else's card to book tickets. Please don't waste our time. Step aside." From behind, a young passenger called out, "He has a valid ticket." A few others took out their phones and started recording, but Sana didn't stop. She waved her hand impatiently and said, "Fine, you'll get a refund. Now please, clear the line." Rashid Mahmood didn't move an inch. His calm, yet firm eyes met hers. He said quietly, "I will sit in my seat." Sensing the tension, a junior flight attendant named Bilal came forward. "What happened, madam?" Sana whispered, "This old man is trying to enter business class." "The ticket must be fake." Bilal took the ticket and scanned it on his handheld machine. A green light blinked. "The ticket is genuine, madam," he said softly. Sana's face darkened with anger. "I don't care," she shouted. "Just look at him. Does he look like a business class passenger?" Rashid Mahmood sighed deeply and said, "I will take my seat now." His voice carried such quiet strength that Sana froze for a moment. Realizing her authority was slipping in front of everyone, she stepped aside reluctantly. But before leaving, she muttered through clenched teeth, "Let's see how long you stay in that seat." Without replying, Rashid Mahmoud walked into the cabin. Inside, the plane was cool and peaceful. Seat 2A was by the window. He placed his old briefcase in the overhead compartment and sat down. Sana entered the cabin, glanced at him sharply for a moment, then began serving water to other passengers. But she deliberately skipped him. When the man beside him asked for coffee, Sana smiled sweetly and served it at once. But when it was Rashid Mahmoud's turn, her face turned cold again. "What would you like?" she asked, her voice dry and distant. "Just some water, please," he replied calmly. Sana brought a bottle and set it on his table, so carelessly it almost fell. He quietly caught it before it could roll off, opened it, and took a sip. There was no trace of anger on his face. Sitting nearby was Arif Khan, a well-known industrialist of Pakistan. He had been observing the entire scene. He didn't like what he saw. The man's calmness, his silence, and the quiet dignity on his face. These could never be hidden by simple clothes. Even when handing out hot towels, Sana skipped his seat again. Now, whispers spread among the passengers. People began murmuring, "Why is the hostess treating him like that?" As the plane entered Islamabad's airspace, the lights of the capital shimmered through the clouds. When the plane landed and passengers prepared to disembark, Sana approached him one last time. In a low, venomous tone, she said, "Because of people like you, the whole cabin's atmosphere gets ruined." Rashid Mahmoud looked at her, but again said nothing. His silence only seemed to inflame her pride even more. But Arif Khan could no longer stay silent. He stood up and said sternly, "That's enough. You've crossed all limits. You've insulted not only this airline, but all of us passengers." Startled, Sana said, "Sir, why are you interfering?" "Of course I am," Arif Khan replied. "This gentleman has done nothing wrong. He paid for his ticket and behaved with complete dignity. Your behavior is unacceptable." Other passengers voiced their support. Sana's face turned crimson with embarrassment. Just then, the cabin door opened. Outside was an astonishing sight. Several black protocol vehicles were parked on the runway. Officials from the Cabinet Division, police officers, and a crowd of journalists were waiting. A red carpet had been rolled up to the aircraft stairs. Passengers whispered among themselves, "Which minister or VIP is arriving?" Bilal ran towards Sana, his hands shaking, holding his phone. "Madam, look at this." Sana took the phone and looked at the screen. Her eyes widened in shock. It was breaking news from a major news channel. Tomorrow morning, the new finance minister of Pakistan, Professor Rashid Mahmoud, will take oath. In the picture, beneath the headline, was none other than the calm-faced man sitting in seat 2A. The phone nearly slipped from her hands. Her world seemed to collapse around her. She looked toward Rashid Mahmoud. He was quietly walking toward the exit, carrying his old briefcase. "Sir, please wait," she cried out in a trembling voice. He stopped and turned around. Her lips trembled. "Sir, I'm truly sorry. I didn't recognize you." Rashid Mahmoud looked at her. There was no anger or vengeance in his eyes, only deep sorrow and compassion. In a calm voice, he said, "The respect every citizen deserves equally. Now, you will give it only because I'm a minister, won't you?" Respect is not earned through wealth or power. It's due to our humanity, my daughter." Those words pierced her heart like an arrow. She couldn't speak, only stood frozen, her eyes full of regret. As Rashid Mahmoud stepped off the plane, camera flashes went off all around. Officials greeted him with flowers. Before entering his car, he turned once to look back at the plane. Inside, passengers watched through the windows, many with tears of shame and remorse. The entire incident spread rapidly across social media. The videos recorded by passengers went viral, and a wave of criticism followed. The airline suspended Sana and issued a public apology. But during his brief speech at the oath-taking ceremony, Rashid Mahmoud said, "I have forgiven her. Punishment cannot change people. I only hope this incident teaches us all a valuable lesson. How wrong it is to judge someone by their appearance or clothing." That one incident brought a quiet change across the nation. Service workers began treating even the simplest people with greater respect, because they now realized the humble person standing before them might be another Rashid Mahmoud, silently serving his country. This story has been created purely for your inspiration and reflection. How did you like it? Let us know. Please give it a like and share it with others. We'll meet again in the next story. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, and to hear more heartfelt Urdu stories, subscribe and stay with us. Until then, stay well and stay safe.